Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reds Room, where we take an in-depth look at Cincinnati Reds memorabilia. My guest for the third time, and I certainly appreciate having you on, is none other than Mark Fugate. You all know him from Sports Gallery in Forest Park, Ohio. Mark, welcome to the Reds Room.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. What we're going to get into here is vintage pins, buttons. I don't know what else people call them.
Pinbacks.
Pinbacks, stick pins.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Pinbacks, pins, buttons. That's usually what they refer them to. And these are all older 40s, 50s, 60s type pins.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. We'll start right here with this. Almost looks like is this a little girl here?
Yeah, sometimes they would hang these little plastic. This one's a little catcher actually. Yeah, it's a catcher.
Wow.
It's supposed to be a catcher's uniform that he's wearing with a hat. It's kind of hard to see from the back, but a lot of these pins, they would hang a little plastic figure, maybe a glove or a bat or a player, and it's nice these happen to still have them because most of the time they disappear or fall off. But
yeah,
if you can find one of these and they're still hanging there, it really adds to the value. It helps to have those attached to it.
And speaking of these, now I know just from looking on places like eBay, there's a lot of people that try to fake these.
Yes, yeah, you have to really be careful and look at the back of them. A lot of times, some of them will have labels in them from the manufacturer back in the day, paper labels. Not all of them, unfortunately, but you really want to look at the. You should show age. It shouldn't look brand new.
Okay.
If you see one of these, it's like brand new silver on the back. But you usually don't see ones like this that are faked, but there are some, like the 39 isn't often one that's faked a lot. Okay. Just it says champions, I think 39, there's probably thousands of those out there. Yeah. And you look at the back of them, it looks like brand new metal.
Yeah.
Those are, and they, it's just a replica.
Right.
And they sell for replica prices. Okay. I mean, they're $25 to $45 usually. But if you can find one like these that say champions and they show age and they have the little figurine hanging from them, totally different world. You can tell that you can see that it's aged and it's.
So in that thing where you see some of that aging, maybe a little rust on the back, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Chips on the edges, scratches on the surface. I mean, it's going to show its age.
Right.
It should have a patina that shows like it was made in 1940.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have something like a baseball on it, and we were discussing that prior to the start about these were made in Japan.
Oh, this big one.
Yes.
Yeah, this one was, both of these, there's one on the table. Both of them are marked made in Japan on the bottom. So they're pre-war. So I'm guessing these were pretty special. So I'm guessing these were, even though they don't say World Series, but since the Reds were in the World Series in 39-40, these were probably made for that, because it's a big giant metal ball.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have made something like this for just a regular season or regular game. These were special. So I'm guessing these are either 39 or 40, and they're actually marked on the bottom, made in Japan, which is fascinating. Fascinating that they weren't made here in America.
Yeah.
But these are super, super cool, very desirable. Occasionally you see them out there. They're still rare, but occasionally one pops up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of value, if you want to look at these as a whole, maybe, I don't know, but.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, some of these, it's hard to say because some of these I bought so many years ago that I haven't seen any. But I'm going to guess the one with the ball, maybe a couple $100.
Okay.
Maybe more. I'm just guessing on that because, again, I haven't seen any. Some of these that say National League with the little figurines, those can go for several $100.
Okay.
Because they're kind of rare, especially the smaller ones. You see the bigger ones more often, but when you get into these tiny ones, they just don't see them very often. So they're going to bring some decent money.
I find this one with the little girl really fascinating. It's just such an odd thing to have.
Yeah, and actually it's a little catcher. If you look at it close.
Oh, it's a little catcher.
Yeah, it's a little catcher.
Okay, that's fascinating. I guess it's a little girl. Maybe it's just got a
it could be
girlish look to it.
It does. It does. It could be a little girl catcher.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. And then we got a couple others. I love the ones that have the gloves hanging from them, which is super cool. Like some of these would have a leather glove. I can't imagine actually wearing that on your clothes because they're actually little mini leather gloves. And this one actually still has the label on it. I don't know what it says. Oh, it just says Reds. It's got a red sticker, so nobody ever pulled it off of there. And again, just a souvenir. Probably 40s.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The gloves, I've seen gloves for sale occasionally, and the gloves can bring $100 just
Really?
for the little leather glove.
Wow.
But this one is, you know, all original, super cool. I gotta say, it's got to be in a couple $100 range probably. If
wow,
you could,
that is amazing.
yeah.
And this one is Vandermeer.
That's the Vandermeer.
It has a plane.
Yes, it had a plane and
also
also
a little catcher
and then a little tiny catcher. That's all original. It's got the original strings. It even has the makers. It's got a little paper maker on the back of it. I can't recall who it is, but it's a bezel. It's like it begins with a B.
Looks like it, yeah.
But maybe you'll take a picture of the back of that afterwards. But yeah, it's got the paper insert, which is neat. So it tells you who made it, manufactured it. But this is a Vandermeer, probably made because of his no hitters. It's probably why it was, you know, especially after his no hitters, they probably made these and sold these out on the street, or it could have been inside Crosley Field. But Vandermeer was very popular at the time. There's a couple other there's a little tiny Johnny Vandermeer Reds with a flag and a little catcher again.
Yeah.
And then the larger one. So there was two different sizes of that one. And then this one, actually, this is the only one of these I've ever seen.
Well, I wonder if the plane is, because I know the Reds were the first to fly.
Oh.
And I wonder if that isn't, and I wouldn't know when it would be. I would imagine it'd be
36, 37, somewhere in that area.
But Vandermeer wasn't with the team then.
No. So, I mean, when they first flew, I think it was from what I've seen in pictures, I thought it was 36, 35, something like that. So, I don't know if it had anything to do with flying, but sometimes these manufacturers, you know, they have all these little plastic pieces, and they're probably making, this company was a real company, and they probably make pins for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So they may just grab whatever they had, like, you know, people just assemble them, and they, I got to take this, I'm going to take this, and then for the next pin, I'm going to put, you know, who knows?
Could have been what they did. A toy company or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the history of them.
But this, it's like a silk strip here hanging with Vandermeer on it.
Yeah.
Vandermeer Reds. It actually says Johnny at the top. The pin's kind of covering. It's neat that it has like 2 American flags on the pin. Just a super cool, rare piece. I was lucky enough to get a hold of, so I can't even put a price on that. Can't put a price on that. It might be one of one.
Yeah.
I've not seen another, but there's Johnny Vandermeer collectors out there. Somebody may have one, so be interesting to know if there actually is more.
Yeah. Hey, if you got one, share a picture with us for sure.
Yeah. And I think these are just some more common. There's a 61. Now see this 61, it's got a little rust on it, but not much, and it looks almost brand new. So this might have been some sort of reproduction.
Okay.
It doesn't show any kind of age. Either that or somebody that really took really nice care of it. I think I may have another one of these. Down there's a 61, I think, that shows a lot of use, and it's got a ball and a bat hanging from it. So if you see these out there and the ribbon looks brand new and the edges look brand new and it's really clean silver on the back, it may be a reproduction.
Okay.
And if you don't care about that, just make sure you're not paying much for it.
Right.
If you're getting it for $25 or something, just to have an example, fine. Yeah. So that may be a reproduction because it kind of looks like it. And then this one Red Stockings one's next to it is again just another souvenir. Really nice shape. It's got the little gold ball, little gold bat hanging from it. Very common type pin, but it says Red Stockings, which is cool. I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure how to actually date that. What do you think it is? Just Red Stockings? It's hard to say.
Oh yeah. It could be anywhere.
Could be early 50s.
Yeah.
I mean, before they went to red legs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I took a guess by the age of the ribbon, I would say possibly late 40s, early 50s would be my guess, but I'm probably more likely 50s. But a cool souvenir.
I also want to show how these are, I'll show this here on the screen, of how these are attached in there, the ribbons. It's like a little metal clip that.
Yeah, it's a little circular metal piece with the pin in it. It's attached to it. It's all one piece. And then they squeeze it together, and it basically forces its way inside the back of the pin, and it holds the ribbon in place. So it's like a pressure thing. So you could actually pop those out if you needed to. If you needed to replace a pin because one was missing, you can find those and pop it in there and get you a pin in there if you need it. Yeah. Easily fixed.
And we kind of talked about these Vandermeer. This is a really unique piece.
This is since 1939. It was a convention in Cincinnati. I'm going to try to read what it said because I can't remember exactly. But these would have been the guests at the convention would have wore these. But it says 39th Annual Convention, National Association a professional baseball league, Cincinnati. Actually has a date, December 4th through December 6th, 1939. And it's got the 1939 logo that all the players wore. They had the patches on their sleeves, and I love that this took place in Cincinnati. So they had a big convention in Cincinnati, and then all the people would have wore these on their jackets. And this one has a paper, you would have had the name here. It doesn't have a name, so obviously this was one that wasn't used.
Right.
But they would have wrote their name on here, and then they would have wore these around, so you would know who each guy is. But yeah, 1939, it's even got a maker's mark on the back of it, which I can't read because I don't have my readers on. But yeah, really cool piece. I love the fact that it was Cincinnati. So yeah.
Well, wasn't the National League offices in Cincinnati for?
I think they were. Yeah, I don't remember what years, but yeah, I think they were for a while. I don't know if it was that time period. Maybe it was.
Yeah, it could have
Maybe
been.
that's why they did it.
Right. And let's move up here to these little small Paul Derringer National League champs. A couple of those.
Souvenir World Series or National League champs. Little cardboard Cincinnati signs that were attached to a ribbon and then attached to a button. Neat little souvenirs. There's a blue one, a green one, and a red one. It's interesting too that they all say they say 1939 below on the pin, but one of them is painted over, and we believe that to be the case because they were probably reused in 1940. So if the guys didn't sell them all in 39 and then they ended back up in 40, they painted over the 1939 and just left it painted over so they could sell them in the 40 National League. Or in the World Series, I guess, because they were National League champs.
And again, we talked about in a previous episode about the pennants always seem to come in the blue, green, and red.
Yeah,
they did the same even with that.
Blue and red. Yeah, that's the colors. Those are very, very difficult to find. Yeah. Those are in the $500 plus range if you could even find one.
Yeah, the only one I've ever even seen other than is the Paul Derringer. Yeah. And then we got a couple little small trinket pins here, buttons rather.
Little souvenir pins that you would have wore on your jacket. One just says Reds with a little ball hanging from it, and then you got the
61.
Well, that one actually says Cincinnati Reds Champions with the little glove, and it's got the same maker's mark, that same company, Brazel, Brazel, Souvenirs. Actually, does it say Cincinnati? It does say Cincinnati. Brazel Novelty and Company, Cincinnati, Ohio.
So it was a little novelty.
Yeah,
company.
So I've actually got some of these pins that have this little paper backing, which is neat to have. And then it's got this little glove hanging from it. So this is Champions. Of course, you have to figure out, well, which Champions? Is it 39? Is it 40?
Yeah.
Is it 61? I don't think it's 61 because it looks too old for 61.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess it's 39, 40.
39 or 40. That's
yeah.
I would agree with that.
So it's a really unique little pin. It's very cool. So if you could find them with the paper insert in the back, that really helps identify when it was made.
And here's the 61 that you were talking about that has a lot more wear.
Yeah, that one says Champions. It's got an old ribbon. It's got an interesting bat and ball hanging from it. I'm sure the back's probably got, you can see the back, all the rust and the wear. I don't know if you probably can't see that, but I'm sure you'll take a picture. But it shows its wear and it shows its use, and it's a neat little trinket. So it would have been a souvenir from '61 World Series. All cool stuff.
Yeah, very nice. What would you value something like that?
Probably in that condition, a couple $100.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a little less. I guess it depends on the seller. Maybe you can get it for $150 since it's 61. Maybe a little less, but somewhere in that area.
And then these two little small, these are almost barely over an inch. Both of them are 39.
Yes.
But one is Yankees, and that almost, I know whenever you get into Yankee stuff, sometimes you can get a little more pricey.
It's a Yankee Reds pin.
Yeah.
Probably sold in New York, but I loved it because it said Cincinnati Reds and it said 1939. So anything to do with the 39-40 World Series, if it was a trinket or pin, I'm going to try to get it. And I don't know if that one actually has no paper on that one, but it's got a lot of wear and a lot of rust on the back of it. So neat little 1-inch pin, and then you got the Reds version, just Cincinnati Reds 1939, but it's got the paper insert in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, really, really unique. I don't know what the Yankees Reds. I mean, for a 39, since they won the World Series in New York, that could go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Probably.
Yeah, you're fighting with a whole different fan base with that.
I mean, you're talking about DiMaggio and that group of, I mean, these people will go crazy over that little pin probably.
Yeah.
The Reds one, probably not that much, maybe $150, $200, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
And then here, now you got variations of these like player pins.
Souvenir pins that one says Sin Reds and one says Cincinnati Reds, and one doesn't have the little C on it. They have like an embossed kind of C on them, and one doesn't have it. Although the one that doesn't have it, it almost looks like it's been repainted, so it possibly could be repainted. But yeah, they're just little pin. You stuck them on your gold back pin, and I basically found what I think is three different possible variations. So I haven't seen any other variations, but just a neat pin.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And then you have one here. It's like a little plastic. Is that plastic or metal?
Yeah, no, it's plastic. It's really cool. It looks like a pennant, shaped like a pennant. It just says Reds, and then you put that on your coat, and then you got a little glove hanging from it.
Little glove.
And it actually has an extra pin, so you could have pinned both. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that is really.
I love little trinkets like this. I know there's other variations out there. I've seen one like this that's got a helmet hanging from it. It's red and white. It's super cool. Unfortunately, I don't have it, but I know the guy that does, and he won't let it go. Yeah, I love these little things. They're just so neat with the chains hanging from them. You can imagine, people just discarded them, or they broke and they fell off, or they threw them away. So something that small to survive is neat. It's neat to see.
That is. I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
that's really neat.
Yeah.
Now these are certain types. These ones.
The PM10s.
What are they again?
Are they called PM10s?
PM10s.
Yes, that's the official book number for them in the catalog book. But they're just basically player pinback buttons. But they're all classified as a PM10 category.
But I know some of them, certain players are extremely desirable.
Well, yes, especially the black players like Frank Robinson. They didn't make many of those pins. Why, I don't know. If because they were black, I'm not sure. But there was a lot of players that they did not make many of. Some of the oddball players like Frank Thomas, who this is the only one I've ever seen. They're really hard to find. They are difficult to locate. You see Ted Klaczewski a lot. For some reason, they made tons of Ted Klaczewski pins. But when you get into the other players, literally, if you can find one or two or three in existence, that's about all there is. Yeah, they're super cool, super hard to find. I've been looking for these for at least 10 plus years, and this is all I've ever found.
And so this isn't the complete set of them?
No. They made all different players. And every once in a while, a new one pops up. There was a couple on eBay end of last year that unfortunately I didn't get to. There was a Bob Perky pin that I'd never seen before, and it turned up on eBay. Buy it now, and I missed it. It actually sold for like $300.
Wow.
But they're extremely rare. You'd think there'd be many of them. I can envision a board out on the street, and the guy's got all these pins on there. You remember like at Riverfront when the guys had all the pins on the boards, and remember all kinds of pins? But for some reason you can't find them. You cannot find them. And then there's two very early versions with Derringer.
Paul Derringer.
Which is probably going to be late 30s. And what was the other one? Oh, Frank McCormick. Two this is the earliest ones I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've never seen any other players. I've not seen Lombardi or any of the others. But really, really tough. These are probably late 30s to around 1940 or so.
And I mean, these can get well up into the hundreds.
Yeah, and then interesting, there's one here, it's PM10, which is, again, the only one I've ever seen. But I thought what is really interesting, they spelled his name Vida.
Oh, look at that.
Vida. Vida Pinson. And it looks around like his rookie era, so I'm going to guess this is like 58, 59. Okay, yeah. They got his name wrong, Vida Pinson.
I'll be darned.
That, I think, to me, that's super cool.
That is cool.
It took me forever to find a Frank Robinson.
Is that right?
Forever and ever, and those are extremely rare. But you got Gus Bell, Grady Hatton, Roy McMillan, Wally Post, and then they have some all-ball players like a Bobby Adams. And then some of them get more involved with a little ribbon. The Yule Blackwell is super cool with the original ribbon and a gold glove, a gold ball. I have another one above him that doesn't have that, so I have two variations of Ted Klaczewski, two different photos. Ted was very popular in the 50s, so they made a lot of Ted Klaczewski pins. You actually see these usually in the $50 range for Ted because they're more common. Yeah, almost every show you go to, you at least see one of those.
Yeah. I find it interesting. Some of them they added the ribbons to it. And some
and there's Ken Raffensperger, which is unbelievably cool. I've not seen that one before, but that one, Grady Hatton. But they're really neat. I love trinkets and treasures from Crosley Field era. So again, you can spend 10 years and maybe you find 10 of these.
Yeah, they're amazing. I know they're incredibly difficult to find, most of them.
And because there's other collectors of these, they can go for big money.
Yep.
If one turns up, it can go for crazy money just because everybody wants one, because you never see them.
You never see it. Well, and if it's one, for example, like you didn't have, then it probably is extremely rare.
Right. And then lastly, there's some ones here with bats. I think those are really cool. There's one from the 61 World Series, and it's got a bat from the 61 World Series. It even says 1961 World Series Souvenir, Yankees Reds. And it says Red Legs, National League champs. That's just a neat, it's great shape. But yeah, they sold these with the bats hanging from them. They got here one with the Mr. Red Legs with a bat, and this one just says Cincinnati Red Stockings on the bat. So they would figure out ways to create and sell these things, and they put a bat on it with a pin.
You ever seen any photo? I know you have a pretty nice photo archive. Have you ever seen photos of people wearing these?
Very rarely. It's really, I look a lot, but you rarely. I see ones with people with pennants and holding things like that, but actually seeing the pin on them, no. Have you?
No, I
it's
haven't.
hard. They're incredibly hard to find. I wish I could. This one is really fascinating. This came from Waite Hoyt.
Oh,
this actually belonged to Waite Hoyt. I was lucky enough, his lovely wife, I believe she's passed now, they were selling some of her archives. I got a box of Waite Hoyt goodies, letters, paintings, watercolors, and I still have the box.
Yeah.
This was in the box.
Okay.
This was Waite's, and there was also a couple of other pins that I have tucked away, but this actually came from Waite Hoyt.
That's amazing.
Now, he put it away. It's in pristine condition. I doubt he even wore it. He probably just bought it and took it home.
Right.
And but that's where this National League 61, and it still had the little glove attached to it.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I was able to get a box of really neat goodies of Waite Hoyt, which I still really haven't even dived into. It's just been kind of sitting, and I hope to get all that stuff. There's photographs in there. There's letters he wrote to people, watercolors, love letters, Christmas cards. I mean, all kinds of treasures. But this was in there.
I know he was very known for writing people back.
Yes.
If you wrote Waite Hoyt, he would write you back.
And he kept all the letters that people wrote back to him. So they're all in there too.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's an episode in its own.
Yeah. And then lastly, that's nothing, just another little Mr. Red Legs, Red Stockings pin. So just a souvenir pin, common pin. Not a big deal, but the big deal is the player pins. Those are incredibly tough, and anything to do with 39, 40 World Series are tough. And then, of course, Johnny Vandermeer. So I love all those little things.
That is. I mean, and there's so many people that love buttons. Buttons are amazingly popular, and people love to collect them.
Well, they're small. They display well, and you're not going to find a ton of them. So if you even have 5 or 10 in a little collection in a box or something, that's a cool little collection.
Right.
And you may not find it anymore.
Yeah.
That might be it.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for joining us over the last 3 episodes. This was another amazing stuff you brought us and shown us again. Things we may never see again,
Maybe not. You got another question for me? We're gonna do
I do have another question for you. Something you didn't know.
So what the last time? The last one was cereal.
Yeah, we had cereal.
And then before that was movies.
Actors.
Yeah, you got me on. I had to think about that one.
All right, I'll throw you a softball a little bit here. Okay. A professional baseball player other than a Red, that's your favorite player?
I would go with Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
Well,
I mean,
can't go
the
wrong with
history
that.
of Jackie Robinson, what he did and what he overcame to get into the league, and I can't even imagine what he had to go through, but I would place Jackie Robinson right at the top of that list.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, that came out instantly. I just knew right away it had to be Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Great player. Yeah, you're right. He went through a lot.
Yeah.
And, all right. Well, that's all we got, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, happy collecting, everyone.
Bye.